This is the mask of Tutankhamun, Egypt's famous boy king.
The world's most famous works of art, made of solid gold and weighing some 25 pounds. It's a masterpiece of early goldsmiths' work.
For a century, the world believed Tutankhamun's golden mask was exactly what it appeared to be: perfect, untouched, and made for a boy king. But subtle details never fit, and no one could explain them. Everything changed after a modern accident exposed a chance to look deeper, leading to a discovery that rewrote whose face history was truly honoring. The icon that fooled the world. November 1922. In the Valley of the Kings, British archaeologist Howard Carter chisels a small hole into a sealed chamber that has not been opened since the age of the pharaohs. He raises a candle through the gap. When asked if he could see anything, Carter replied that he could, describing the sight before him as wonderful. Inside lay a treasure hoard beyond imagination. Golden chariots, jeweled thrones, painted statues frozen mid-stride. But buried deep within 3 nested coffins was the object that would eclipse everything else: the golden death mask. It weighed more than a bowling ball, 22 pounds of solid gold, inlaid with lapis lazuli and turquoise, with eyes of obsidian and quartz that seemed almost alive. To the ancient Egyptians, gold was not decoration, it was divine flesh. This mask was sacred technology, crafted to help a pharaoh's soul recognize his body in the afterlife. Without it, the spirit would wander forever. On the back, artisans carved a spell from the Book of the Dead, divine protection for the journey beyond death. For a century, the world accepted this mask as flawless, perfect, and made solely for a boy king who died at 19. Yet almost immediately, experts noticed things that did not add up. Details that felt wrong. Details no one wanted to confront. Because if those clues were real, it meant the mask was not what history claimed it to be. The 70-day impossibility. King Tutankhamun's death was sudden, likely caused by infection after a shattered leg. In ancient Egypt, religious law was absolute. A pharaoh had exactly 70 days to be mummified and buried. Not more, not less. 70. Now consider what that meant. 70 days to carve a royal tomb from solid limestone. 70 days to construct 3 elaborate coffins nested inside one another. 70 days to gather thousands of burial objects. And 70 days to create a 22-pound solid gold mask, inlaid with precious stones and carved with microscopic hieroglyphs. All for a death no one saw coming. The tomb itself tells the story of panic. It is shockingly small for a pharaoh. Some wall paintings appear unfinished, as if artists were rushed out mid-stroke. The massive stone sarcophagus is chipped at the corners, suggesting workers smashed it just to make it fit inside the chamber. Then researchers noticed something else. Many grave goods were not made for Tut at all. Statues bore faces that did not resemble him. Jewelry fit a woman's body. Coffins showed names scraped away and hastily recarved. When scholars looked again at the mask, the most disturbing clue stood out. The ears were pierced. In ancient Egypt, only children and women wore earrings. An adult male pharaoh would never be depicted this way. Never. Suddenly, an unthinkable theory emerged. What if no mask existed when Tut died? What if priests racing the 70-day deadline stole one already made for someone else? The Vanishing Queen. Her name was Nefertiti. Her face is one of the most recognizable in human history. The elegant bust with the long neck and enigmatic smile. She was Tutankhamun's stepmother, the wife of the radical pharaoh Akhenaten. And after her husband's death, evidence suggests she did something unprecedented. She may have taken the throne herself, ruling Egypt as pharaoh under a new name. Then she vanished. Her tomb has never been found. Her mummy has never been conclusively identified. Official records fall silent, as if she were deliberately erased. For Egyptologists, this absence has always been unsettling. If Nefertiti died before Tut, the implications were staggering. A queen-turned-pharaoh would have had a burial mask prepared in advance. One with pierced ears. One with refined feminine features. If Tut then died unexpectedly, the timing fit perfectly, but there was no way to prove it. Examining the inside of the mask would require damaging it. An unthinkable act. So, the theory remained in whispers, mentioned quietly at conferences, dismissed in print, dangerous to pursue seriously. the disaster that changed everything. In 2014, during a routine cleaning at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, a worker accidentally struck the mask. The long braided beard, a sacred symbol of divine kingship, snapped clean off and fell to the floor. The damage itself was serious. What followed was catastrophic. Instead of calling expert conservators, museum staff panicked. They reached for the fastest solution available, industrial epoxy, the kind used for plumbing and car repairs. They slathered it onto the brake, forced the beard back into place, and hoped the damage would go unnoticed. It didn't. Photographs spread instantly. Glue residue was visible along the golden chin. Egypt's most famous artifact, which had survived wars, tomb robbers, and 3 millennia underground, had been scarred by a hardware store fix. The Egyptian government moved quickly to contain the embarrassment. An international conservation team was assembled, led by German expert Christian Ekman. His official task was simple: remove the epoxy and reattach the beard properly. But Ekman saw an opportunity. Before restoring anything, he would scan the mask using advanced X-ray fluorescence technology. If the Nefertiti theory was real, this would finally prove it, or end it forever. The scan that was supposed to end the theory. Ekman's approach was methodical. X-ray fluorescence scanning could read the elemental composition of the gold without harming the artifact. If the face had been taken from another mask and attached later, the scan would reveal differences. Separate gold alloys, hidden solder lines, chemical scars left by alteration. For months, his team scanned every millimeter. The results appeared decisive. The gold of the face matched the gold of the headdress. The hieroglyphs spelling Tutankhamun's name showed no signs of being carved over another inscription. Even the delicate glass inlays around the eyes were intact. If a new face had been soldered on, the heat would have shattered them instantly. The conclusion was unavoidable. The mask was original, entirely Tut's. The most dangerous theory in Egyptology was declared dead. Ekman's team removed the epoxy and reattached the beard using beeswax, the same material ancient craftsmen would have used. The mask returned to display. The textbooks remained unchanged. But not everyone was convinced. A small group of scientists pointed out a fatal limitation. X-rays can see density and structure, but they cannot read history. They cannot tell whether gold was poured once or reheated, hammered, erased, and reworked with extraordinary precision. If ancient artisans had used gold from the same batch, flattened inscriptions perfectly, and sealed seams at the atomic level, X-rays would see nothing at all. To detect that kind of deception, an entirely different technology would be required, one capable of reading the memory of atoms themselves. By 2024, that technology existed. The scan that changed history. Dr. Helene Voss is a materials physicist at the Max Planck Institute in Munich. Her specialty is quantum resonance imaging, a technology so new it exists almost entirely outside public research. Unlike X-rays, it does not look for cracks or density. It reads how atoms remember heat, pressure, and movement. In late 2024, her team received permission from the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities to perform a non-invasive scan of Tutankhamun's mask. Officially, it was a calibration test. They wanted to prove the system could read ancient gold. No one expected it to challenge a century of conclusions. The scan was conducted after the Grand Egyptian Museum closed for the night. The mask rested motionless as the scanner hummed to life. Data streamed in real time. For hours, everything aligned with established results. Then the scanner reached the cartouche containing Tutankhamun's name. According to Dr. Ahmed Hassan of Cairo University, the room fell silent. Beneath the visible hieroglyphs, the quantum imager revealed a pattern that should not exist. Atomic displacement consistent with repeated hammering and reworking, isolated to that exact inscription. Dr. Voss ordered a rescan. The anomaly remained. Recalibration changed nothing. Remote collaborator Dr. Yuki Tanaka confirmed the signal from Kyoto. The data was clear. Someone had erased a name and carved another over it. The ghost beneath the gold. The team expanded the scan to the entire mask. What emerged dismantled a century of certainty. First, the ears. Standard X-rays showed solid gold, uninterrupted and flawless. Quantum resonance imaging told a different story. Beneath the surface were two perfectly shaped cylindrical plugs. The original pierced ear holes had been filled with rods made from the same gold alloy, then hammered and polished until no seam could be detected by any pre-2024 technology. The ears had not been decorative, they had been erased. Then came the face. Along the boundary where the face meets the headdress, the scanner detected what Dr. Voss described as thermal ghosting. At the atomic level, the gold along that precise outline carried a different heat history than the surrounding metal. This meant it had been superheated separately, then fused without disturbing the visible surface. Ancient craftsmen had not soldered the face from the front. That would have shattered the fragile glass inlays around the eyes. Instead, they attached it from behind, using controlled high-pressure heating. The seam was invisible to X-rays, invisible to microscopes, invisible for over 3,000 years. But the atoms remembered. The mask had been surgically altered, not crudely, perfectly. The room was silent as the implication settled. The mask was not just reused, it had been rewritten. The name that should not exist. After a long silence, Dr. Ahmed Hassan asked the question no one else would. Could the scanner reconstruct what had been erased? Dr. Voss answered quietly that it could. By tracing microscopic stress patterns left by the original hammering, the system could digitally rebuild the first inscription. She initiated the program. For 11 minutes, no one spoke. Lines of data condensed into shapes, then symbols. Slowly, hieroglyphs emerged on the screen, rising from the atomic noise like a buried voice. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, watching remotely from Kyoto, later said no one in the room breathed. The name appeared one sign at a time. It was not Tutankhamun, it was Neferneferuatan, the royal throne name many historians believe Nefertiti adopted when she ruled as pharaoh. There was no ambiguity. The erased inscription matched known royal forms. The spacing was correct. The stroke order was exact. This was not coincidence or contamination. It was deliberate replacement. The mask had not merely been altered to fit Tut. His name had been carved over hers. For the first time in 3,000 years, the vanished queen spoke again, through the memory of gold. The cover-up revealed. The quantum data reconstructed a story Egypt had buried in panic. When Tutankhamun died without warning, there was no burial mask prepared for him. His reign had been brief, his power fragile. His successor, a man named Aa, moved quickly, likely claiming Tut's intended grand tomb for himself. The priests were left with an impossible problem and an unbreakable law. 70 days, no exceptions. They turned to the previous ruler. Nefertiti had ruled as pharaoh. Her burial mask already existed. It was complete, sacred, and waiting. So, they took it. First, they erased the signs of a woman's identity. Her pierced ears were sealed with gold from the same alloy, hammered until the seams vanished. Her face was removed and replaced with a new one bearing the boy king's features, attached from behind with extraordinary precision to avoid cracking the glass inlays. Then her royal name was beaten flat, atom by atom, and Tutankhamun's was carved in its place. The king was buried wearing a stolen face. The mask became an icon. The truth disappeared. For 3,300 years, history accepted the lie because it was flawless, until technology learned how to listen to metal remember. The mask still stares out from behind glass, flawless and familiar. But beneath the gold lies a buried truth, revealed only when atoms remembered what history forgot. If this mask was stolen from Nefertiti, what else in Tutankhamun's tomb doesn't belong to him? And where is the queen's real face?